He was the suavest Bond of them all. Roger Moore, the man who defined charm, wit, and style on the silver screen. But behind the polished tuxedo,
Sir Roger Moore, the suave icon of the silver screen, lived a life more dramatic than the roles he played. 4 wives, 3 children, affairs, scandal, and heartbreak. And in the end, millions left behind. And a country house now sitting empty and silent. This is the story of the legend. Houses. Sir Roger Moore's life wasn't just defined by red carpets and Bond films. It was also lived across a stunning array of properties that reflected his global stardom. One of the most talked about homes is Appleton House, a grand country residence in Gloucestershire. Nestled in the idyllic Cotswolds and priced at $2.64 million, this 1930s estate boasts 6 bedrooms, 5 bathrooms, sweeping views over Stinchcombe Hill Golf Course, and 2.8 acres of private gardens and mature woodland. Moore rented the house in the 1960s, during the early heights of his fame. With its stone-mullioned windows, lead-like glass, and dramatic Edwardian charm, it perfectly echoed the elegance of its former tenant. Another notable address is his Holland Park flat in London, now available for rent at £5,600 per month. Though modest by Bond standards, it offers vaulted ceilings, sash windows, and a top-floor vantage point, perhaps suitable for a former spy. Moore's early days were spent in Streatham and later in Bexley with his second wife, Dorothy Squires, before moving stateside. He later owned a mansion in East Preston, Littlehampton, valued at £1.5 million, and a vast estate in Denham, Buckinghamshire, once listed at £4.5 million, located near Pinewood Studios. He also resided in Tunbridge Wells, Kent, and eventually settled in Switzerland with his 4th wife, Christina Tholstrup. These homes weren't just real estate, they were chapters in the remarkable globe-trotting life of one of Britain's most iconic actors. A life marked by love and heartache. Moore's love life spanned 4 marriages, each more complex than the last. His first wife, Dorn Van Stein, was a fellow RADA student and 6 years his senior. Their early days were humble. They lived with her family in Streatham. But behind closed doors, things were far from idyllic. Moore would later speak of physical abuse and constant doubt from Van Stein regarding his acting career. The marriage crumbled under the weight of emotional strain and financial uncertainty. Then came Dorothy Squires, a glamorous Welsh singer 12 years older than Moore. Their relationship was passionate, tempestuous, and ultimately destructive. Squires smashed guitars over his head and once threw a brick through a window after discovering Moore's affair with Italian actress Luisa Mattioli. When Moore finally left Squires, she refused to let go, dragging him through lawsuits and court battles for years. Yet, in an unexpected gesture of kindness, Moore paid for her cancer treatment before her death in 1998. Moore married Mattioli in 1969 after nearly a decade of living together and battling legal obstacles. Their union brought him stability and fatherhood. 3 children, Deborah, Jeffrey, and Christian. Deborah followed in her father's footsteps as an actress, while Jeffrey became an actor turned entrepreneur and musician. Christian, the youngest, built a career behind the scenes in film production. But even this long-standing relationship eventually frayed. By the early 1990s, Moore met Christina Kiki Tholstrup, a Swedish socialite, and his marriage to Mattioli ended. Christina would be his final partner, his companion in the twilight years, and by his side when he died in Switzerland. Illness and decline. Moore was no stranger to pain, and it came early in life. As a child, he suffered from a laundry list of illnesses: measles, mumps, chickenpox, double pneumonia, and jaundice. The frailty of youth haunted him into adulthood. While filming Live and Let Die in 1973, Moore was briefly hospitalized due to kidney stones. On set, he crashed a speedboat and fractured a tooth and suffered a concussion. During The Spy Who Loved Me, a chair explosion stunt left him with burns on his buttocks. In 1993, Moore was diagnosed with prostate cancer, which he survived after treatment. A decade later, he collapsed on stage during a Broadway appearance and required a pacemaker. In 2013, he was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, and years before his death, doctors discovered a tumor in his liver. Despite these health scares, Moore rarely let his suffering show publicly. But in 2017, cancer returned, this time in his lungs and liver. After a fall left him with a shattered collarbone, he deteriorated rapidly. He died on May 23, 2017, at the age of 89, in the presence of his family in Crans, Montana, Switzerland. He was buried in the Monaco Cemetery. A legacy beyond the screen, Roger Moore will forever be remembered as James Bond, cool under pressure, witty, and unflappable. From Live and Let Die to A View to a Kill, he played the British secret agent in 7 films, more than any other actor. But his talent stretched far beyond MI6. He was beloved for his television role in The Saint and co-led The Persuaders alongside Tony Curtis. What often goes unnoticed, however, is his deep humanitarian legacy. In 1991, Moore became a UNICEF Goodwill Ambassador, dedicating years to helping children around the world. For his charitable work, he was made a commander of the British Empire in 1999, and later a Knight Commander in 2003. In many ways, his contributions off-screen were as noble as the fictional characters he played. What remains? At the time of his death, Moore's net worth stood at a staggering $110 million, a combination of acting income, endorsements, and royalties. But unlike many stars, Moore never flaunted his wealth. He lived comfortably but not ostentatiously, preferring charm over flash. His family inherited both his fortune and the pressure of upholding the Moore legacy. If this glimpse into Roger Moore's remarkable journey moved you, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon for more untold stories of iconic lives.